All right, and we're live. This is the presentation for PBIS Monitor, a CS 499 senior project with Casey Pye, Damon Simpkinson, and Thomas Wylock. PBIS Monitor is a web application created by using Ruby on Rails. It's intended for use by teachers and administrative staff at elementary and secondary schools. The app allows teachers to document misbehavior by students from their computer or mobile devices. Administration can view reports that show possible behavior trends and that make informed decisions regarding disciplinary actions. So we're going to go to some of our primary requirements that we have been working on. Damon, what do you have for us?
All right, well, we're going to start talking about login and authentication. We're going to start, first we're going to try and totally bypass the login and go to some of the other pages that we have an option to, our admin page, our behaviors page, our stats page, and everything redirects right here to log in if we're not logged in. This uses sessions to make sure that we have a logged in user. If we try and not do anything, just log in, we'll get an invalid email password combination. So if we put in a valid email and password combination, that will allow us to log in and dump us on this admin screen, which is where we were trying to get to earlier. And that sends us back to Thomas.
I'll take it from here actually with the dashboard.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Cure up my screen. So here we have our dashboard, our overview page. Now you'll notice that our links in the header, we have behavior events here. We can go and add events and we can view events. We can add students and view students, and we can add and view staff as well as log out from the menu. In our dashboard, we have events this week, which has a nice bar graph that illustrates the number of events by date in the past 7 days. On the right, we have recent events, behavioral events by students with the student names on the left, the date and the time, and an option to go and view the incident at large. Below, the user will see events by month. And we have frequent behaviors list, who will show the top 10 students who have the highest number of behavioral events. Thomas, do you have some students for us?
Yes. So the first thing we want to be able to do is actually add a student. So we go to the students drop down, click add student. And just to show you real quick, if you try to save it without entering anything, it's going to make you choose a teacher first. So let's pick James Thurber. And then once again, if you try to click save, it's going to say first, last name, and grade can be blank. Let's go ahead and enter the name of our student, Nelson Thonodisasa. He's in 8th grade, and his teacher's James Thurber. So once we save him and go back and take a look at him, you can see him down here, but he actually has been added. But it turns out Thonodisasa is not actually his name, so we want to be able to edit it. And when we edit, we just click on the edit button. And then in this case, his last name is actually Months. Typo there. And we just hit Save Changes. And if you look down now, his name has been changed to Months. Now, there's also the Show button where we can just see the basic details of the student. We can click back. We can edit it once again, which we've already done. So we can just Save Changes. And just go back, and then also we can destroy, remove the student from the database. The thing is, if you ask to do that, it's going to query to say, are you sure you want to do that? You can hit cancel, which just takes you back to the page, or you actually hit yes. In that case, he's no longer with us. He's no longer. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Damon.
All right, and our staff members are set up very much the same as our students, with the same sort of a table. So we're going to go ahead and add a new staff member. and fresh from Springfield, we're going to have enough crabapple. Problem is we don't have all of her information entered. We do have a couple different validations in here. One is that the email address not only has to be present, but has to be valid. And then it's going to be a 6th grade teacher. And the other validation that we have is that the password confirmation needs a match. We're going to save this staff member. Oh, and the email has to be unique. So we have a brand new staff member, and if we go view our staff, we've got Edna Carapple here on the bottom. Now we did add a feature. Now you may not edit another user. I'm currently logged in as Bruce Banner, and so that means I'm not able to edit any of our instructors except for myself. I've decided I don't want to be Bruce Banner anymore. I'd rather be Hulk Hogan. And I'm going to save those changes, and sure enough, now I show up as Hulk Hogan. I also have the ability to destroy staff if I choose not to. I can, they'll stay there, and then I can show the details for our staff members. And Edna has decided that she does not want to work at our school after all, and so we are going to destroy her. And with that, we will go back to Casey.
Thank you. So now we're going to look at our add behavior event. Now this is the bread and butter of our application here, because our teachers need to be able to record behaviors that happen. So let's do that now. So here we'll select a student, and we have a date. It defaults to today at the current time here. Let's just say it happened in the hallway, and Bob Ross was involved. And I'm Casey Pye. I'm referring to this. But if it was perhaps a paraprofessional that was helping me in the classroom, I could select them for the referring staff. Now, let's say this motivation was to avoid a task or activity. Now, we have different behavior types. We have minor problem behaviors and major problem behaviors. Let's say that we had inappropriate language. Maybe he dropped an inappropriate word, but nothing that we want to suspend him for. But I could also put in some major behaviors as well. I could put in disruptions, lying, fighting, and aggression there. So I could say, okay, what was happening before the event? We were learning about cells, and we could say that the student jumped up on a chair and started to sing. And due process, we can say this is the only, let's see, Bob Ross started doing it as well. All right. Now, if I'm an administrator, I could say, all right, they spent some time in the office here. They got a timeout in detention. So I'm going to save the event. All right. So now we're in the view behavior event just so I could review it. And it's looking like it stored everything that I wanted. So I can go to my view, my listing behavior events here, and I'll see all of my events. And I can view, edit, or destroy any of them. Okay. So I could view this particular one containing Tony Gertrude. I could edit this. Let's say, oh, no, that was George Weasley. Sorry about that. And I can destroy it as well. So now he is no longer there, or at least that behavior incident is no longer there. So it looks like that's the end of our primary requirements. Now let's go on to our stretch goals.
For our stretch goals.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, for our first stretch goal, we were going to encode the staff members' passwords. And we have that. So this is actually the same application from my local version running. But as you can see, all the staff member passwords are located in the database under password digest field. And this is the decrypt encoded version of these users' passwords. And now we're going to go to Thomas for the rest of our stretch goals.
Another one of our stretch goals was that all staff members should be able to record behavioral events for other staff members. And we can see that pretty easily just with add event. You can see right here I'm logged in as James Thurber, but I can select a student, and the referring staff I can make it Minerva McGonagall, and I could just go ahead and save it that way, and it'll come up. So there it is. So that's not a problem. Another one is that logged in users can only edit their own staff, can only edit themselves, not other staff members, which we've already seen. But just an example, if I put that on Casey's, that it should say up here you can edit them user. And also, you have to be logged in to access the pages, and Damon demonstrated that at the very beginning of the presentation. They tried to hard code the URLs into the browser, and it failed every time. So now I'll turn it back over to David and go over some of the technologies.
All right, for the technologies that we use, we favored a lot of open source technologies because they fit our budget. We use Ruby on Rails as far as the language and framework. Ruby is a open source object-oriented language, which is very useful for web programming, and it's a really very popular language and has been increasing in popularity. And then Rails is an open source framework written in Ruby for Ruby. It's very opinionated, which means it assumes that there's the best way to do things, and it's designed to encourage doing things in that one way. And in some cases, it's even designed to discourage using alternatives. That was really one of the things we had issues getting used to as we started this project, but toward the end, it actually worked out quite well. And then for platform, we are having our website hosted on Heroku. Again, it has an option for hosting the website for free. And then we're maintaining our data in a PostgreSQL database. Again, it's open source object relational database system. But really, the primary reason for choosing that is because it's the only database that Heroku supports. And we'll go back to Casey.
All right. Well, this concludes our presentation.
Actually, Casey, we need to go over testing real quick.
Oh, let's do testing.
Yeah, because that's very important.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. Testers are always forgotten in the real world. For this, we basically went out, we looked at the pages, and we determined what needed to be tested on the page. For example, the login page, entering the different combinations of possible information you could enter and seeing how the page reacted. And we basically listed what the expected results are and what the actual results were. And we did that for all the pages. We did the dashboard, adding, editing students, staff, behavioral, Now for behavior, we had to just kind of pick and choose what we wanted to test because there's just actually too much that we could test by ourselves. We didn't talk about maybe automating the testing using Selenium, but we realized that would be just too much work for what they're doing. And also, by testing the amount of combinations we would have, it would break the database in Heroku because there is a limit what you can use. So we just basically spot check for that and hope for the best, which just seemed to work out okay. And we also unit tested this week. With that, now I'll turn it over to Casey for the conclusion.
All right. So this is our conclusion for our presentation for a CS 499 project PBIS Monitor. We hope you enjoyed it. Signing off.